Hello, and welcome back to another Pen Talk. Thank you very much for tuning in to my channel on the incredible YouTube network. Today we're going to look at another pen that was shipped to me from the Ukraine. Here's the package. It arrived relatively quickly, which is always nice. And this pen was sent to me by the person managing UA Treasures on Etsy. They offered me a pen because I did a review of another pen set that I bought from them, and they liked the review and they wanted to thank me, so they sent me this pen, and I'm very happy to have received it. Just has this plastic sleeve, came well wrapped, and it's just a classic to me pen from the 60s, maybe 70s, but the design certainly indicates that. It was made in Russia during that time frame. It looks like the emblem on the clip may have something to do with the maker of the pen. You can see the marks. I don't know whether it's deliberate, but it's kind of a rough finish versus a nice shiny finish on the cap. And you have the typical end here of the barrel with that gate mark from the injection molding. As you would expect, it pops off, and we'll see a standard nib. The other pen that I had a hooded nib, and this pen also has some identification. I can't make out what that is, but again, it's all injection molded, formed metal, typical of a pen of this price point. Sections on the small side, but it's an extremely light pen, very easy to use and write with. And as we expect from this design, it posts deeply, securely, doesn't really change the balance. In fact, adds a little weight to the pen, which makes it feel better. And also, as one would expect, if you unscrew the section, you'll find that typical converter, which is in a lot of these Eastern European pens from this time frame. It works very well. It's permanent, so it's going to be difficult to replace, but it works well, and I expect a long life. I have a Central pen which is quite old, and it works well. This pen came without any ink in it, but I did do my normal flushing with some soapy water and clear water, so it's ready for inking, and I already have an ink in mind. So Navajo Turquoise, and Nathan has changed the name and the rebottling, but I bought this a few years ago, and I also have a 16-ounce bottle, so I'm going to have this ink for a long, long time. I think it's a great turquoise color, very intense. I have it in a few pens, and all of them are great writers, and the ink works well in those pens. So as I mentioned, these converters work well. I was able to get almost a full fill on the first draw, but obviously I do 3. Make certain everything's well flushed, and the ink is well mixed. You may wonder why I like this ink. Just look at that color, look at the intensity. It's definitely on the blue side of turquoise. And as we pull back, we'll see my 16-ounce bottle, which I bought a number of years ago when it was available. So I'll have enough Navajo Turquoise to last as long as I want. So I thought I'd do a close-up of the nib so you can see the amazing amount of tipping material on it, which leads to a smooth writing experience. A little bit of feedback, which I always enjoy, but just a nice writer for an inexpensive pen. Another nice writer for this inexpensive Russian pen. the nib works very, very well. I think a lot has to do with that amazing amount of tipping they put on it, similar to the previous pen that I reviewed, which also had a lot of tipping material on it. As I've mentioned, the Russian pen is not a big pen, but then not necessarily that small either. Here's a Pilot Metropolitan. Here's my original Russian pen that I got from the Ukraine. And here's a Pelikan M400, which is certainly the shortest pen in this group. You may not have thought that, but that is true. Really, the challenge comes in is smaller pens sometimes are easier to write with. And to me, a light pen with a small section can survive and work well in a long writing exercise. Now we've come near the end of the video, and it's time for some editorial comments and some dimensions. Here they are. I hope you enjoy the way I show dimensions. Works well for me. So what do I think of this pen? Well, I like it. Why might you like it? Well, it's a piece of history. You know, how many Russian pens do you own? Secondly, it's representative of a time and era, pretty much when fountain pens, I think, started to decline in popularity, at least in the United States. But I think they still stayed popular in places like Eastern Europe. The pop-off cap is nice. There's a decent cap liner inside. It's a more complete cap liner than in the original yellow pen, which the nib will dry out after a week or so. Requires priming to write again. And as I mentioned, this is a pen that does post very well, very nice, feels well and good in the hand. And that section really is an okay size. So let's put down some more ink and call it a day. So, I still think this is a nice writing pen. Yes, it has some feedback, but then I'm fine with that. As I've discussed before, knows you're writing on paper. So if we come to the conclusion of this video, I want to thank all of you for watching. I hope this video finds everyone safe, healthy, and happy, enjoying your pens, enjoying every day. That's what life's all about. At least I think it should be. So we've reached the end, and I will write it out for you. And obviously, it is now bye. Yes, writes nice.